there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male
Just
person.
kind of
Yeah.
unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male person. They'd say
Like straight to you, or okay?
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against white men in particular.
I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. And that's not who they're looking to promote at the moment.
As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself.
Please like, comment, and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Today we are reacting to OMG News, which is owned by James O'Keefe, where today he does a huge exposure which exposes Disney for their DEI hire practices. As we know, just in the movies alone the past few years that have continued to flip-flop, everything is about race, and now is coming to right in front of us. We all knew it was happening, but now in their own words, they are admitting it. Let's get it started, y'all. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
At Disney. In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not what they want.
They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's wrong." Like they wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting. I mean, it kind of feels like we're at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices? They use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like,
the fact that this white man can defend the company he works for being racist on white people and not hiring white people based off their skin color is just craziness to me. Like, this is a company that's supposed to be based on giving children happiness, happiest place on earth. And what are they doing behind scenes? Just being straight up racist, not hiring people based off their race. This is why the DEI movement is a joke. It doesn't hire based off principle and how good you are of a worker. All it does is hire based off race, which is just racism. So it shows you liberals and Democrats who push this garbage on a 24/7 basis are the ones running it behind the scenes, as we knew they were.
Look, we're not looking at the usual suspects for this job. So it's not a legally actionable thing. So everybody knows what it means. They, for writers and actors, I hear all the time, looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are
Welcome to the Disney Tapes. My name is James O'Keefe, standing here in Burbank, California, outside Disney corporate headquarters. This is our first part in a series about blatant discrimination and woke policies at the Walt Disney Company. To say that the Disney Company has had a tumultuous 5 years, well, that would be an understatement. Major box office flops.
I'm telling you, these past 4 years, all of these companies that are now indoctrinated, now they're woke, pushing the DEI narratives. It blows my mind that they're still pushing it because they can obviously see that the people aren't with it. That's why they've had back-to-back failures in regards to their shows, in regards to, let's say, Star Wars, the one that just came out. No one likes it, or their movies that keep flip-flopping. It's like, are there kids working behind the scenes, or are you just purposely trying to piss off the people who usually used to support you that no longer support you? So if that's your goal, is to just bankrupt your company, you're doing a damn good job.
a losing battle with the state of Florida and a stock that is one of the worst performers on Wall Street. And as you'll probably conclude from this report, as well as recent shareholder rumblings, almost all of Disney's recent failings are as a result of Bob Iger and the cast of characters here at Disney that are trying to force woke DEI policies into every aspect of Disney's vast media empire. What used to be a highly profitable company by being the gold standard of family entertainment has taken a sharp downturn in the wake of all of its wokeness. Under CEO Bob Iger's leadership, Disney's downfall likely started with the insane hiring practices amongst its executives and creative teams. One of their top senior vice presidents claims that they not only discriminate against white men when recruiting and hiring middle management, they actually give bonuses for hiring and retaining employees that are specifically not white. According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against whites, white men in particular. Not a week goes by without a news headline about potential medical supply shortages, threats to a pandemic. Our friend on the road and start $45 per kit when that's
standards to make sure that shows have diversity.
Do you think like Bob has a say in the diversity stuff when they're casting people? Like
100%.
to what
He gives the directive. I mean,
for each show? For each
not that specifically, but like, hey, I want every show to have substantial.
Iger even has a chief diversity officer. Now, up until recently, that was Latondra Newton, who played a big part in dragging Disney full bore into its losing culture war by promoting discriminatory hiring practices and introducing gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, and other characters into Disney's children's animated series and films.
Is it like an all-across thing, like all of HR, or there's like that one specific person that kind of like, because I forgot the lady's name. She's the head of.
Oh, I know you're talking about the head of the
African American lady. Yeah. So is that like kind of her deciding?
She oversees a lot of that for sure. But it's pretty broad, I would say. There are other people in HR who are also focused on that. I would say a relatively large percentage of our top writer creators happen to be there. And a lot of
just by happenstance.
I mean, like, just like if you say whatever, I don't know, whatever 10 or 15% of the population is there, I would guess that 30 to 35% of our top writers.
Who cares? Who cares if you're gay, dude? I will never get this disgusting company, and that's why you will never see me support Disney again. I feel like they are owned by groomers and pedophiles at this point. If you're pushing this gay and trans cult on people, I just don't get the point, especially when they're little children. It's most of your audience is kids. So what is the point of pushing this gay agenda? Also, it seems like the left is trying to bring back slavery, but for white people. Otherwise, why would they be hating on whites 24/7 if that wasn't the case? We used to hire based off, I'm going to say it again, the type of person you are and how good you are for the job, not based off race. And the reason why these companies are tanking big time is because all they hire is based off race. So when they bring in these people, they're more woke, they're not more qualified for the job, and that's why the movies suck.
And so I think a lot of them lean into trans stories more than the average straight writer would.
And in an odd twist, you have to be a white Jewish guy to be considered for a C-suite job. More on that next week. But now let's meet Los Angeles-based Michael Giordano, a white male and Walt Disney Senior Vice President of Business Affairs.
I do like business affairs, so like negotiations for television.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Nice. That's really cool.
Not really like on the creative side. So a lot of it is like knowing like the guild agreements and the union agreements and everything. Like make offers for the writers and the actors who are going to be out working on the show, and the producers and the directors, and try to get to a place where we can be able to deal with them, help the production to budget. And so much of my job is just the negotiating room. And then other people are doing kind of the drafting of the contracts. So,
oh wow! So yeah, what's the negotiating like?
I'm like sitting down trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna pay this actor for this role? What do we think they want? Oh
wow!
Kind of strategize that, everything from how you produce a show, how you distribute a show, how you exhibit a show, how you market a show, things like that. All of the negotiations and deal making that like related to it.
Yeah.
One, well, actually, two of our brave undercover journalist and American swiper investigative reporters met Michael on the dating app Hinge. And aside from this story, which focused on Disney's overt discrimination against white men, you'll see later on in this report, and it'll be quite entertaining, Michael turns out to be quite the ladies' man.
How long have you been on like dating out?
Not very long. Two and a
Have
half.
you been going out with
Not a lot. Not a lot.
anything like worth?
You know what's funny? No.
Let's dig right into Disney's blatant practices of discrimination. If you're wondering how Disney as a company looks at race, gender, and discrimination in the hiring process, about how they recruit and hire talent, look no further.
I think there are times when it's like so front and center. It's like great because that's the focus, you know. Like we have so many shows where we're casting and we're like, yeah, we're not even going to see, you know, certain people for it because we need that particular role to
Yeah.
to
So is it intentional that they want like they only look for diverse candidates for
At
certain
times.
roles?
Of
Yes.
course.
I think there's certainly a belief that it's just good for society.
This is what it comes down to. The government is forcing this on big business, and if you cooperate, you get cashed out for it. If you shut down these white people for these job positions that they might most be qualified for with their experience and just how good they are, they get more money, as they said previously, if they shut down white people and bring in these woke people. It's really that simple.
And like, dignity. But there's also a belief that like we're gonna make more money if we appeal to a wider variety of people, and it's a good thing. We have shareholders too, you know, and so diversity helps with that.
Diversity helps with financial incentive. So is it like, do you think it's more so on that side, or are you using like any good prices gets put to use,
Disney would
or
do it regardless. I think the Disney would
Okay.
do it regardless, but I think that there are like even conservative people who may not want to lean into it can easily make the argument that like we make more money when we appeal to a wider variety of people, and that means diversity.
yeah,
There's a real focus on every show. And I'm sure the movies too, though I don't deal with that side. So, you know, just making sure that the writers' room has a real, you know, diversity, not just, you know, not just gender or sexual orientation and ethnicity, but, you know, making sure that they're hiring some writers who they have certain disabilities where they wouldn't have hired. Or, you know, so there's kind of a really broad look whenever we're doing that to make sure
Yeah.
that everybody gets.
yeah.
So they talk a big game about DEI, but do they actually do it? Apparently so. They even passed over a qualified half black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
Yeah.
We had a situation where we wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't like appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not like that's not what's wrong." Like
They wanted the full.
they wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting.
And so this is like on the
This was on the
corporate
higher
side, like
corporate
the
side.
business side.
Never understood that. Is it like, 'cause I know a lot, like I have like a lot of black friends who like are not as dark as like, you know. So do they care about that, or
It's
is like the
funny you ask.
ethnicity actually?
They say that
I'm going to answer this before he even answers this. Yes, the darker you are, supposedly, the better you are qualified for the role. Not if you're a good speaker or a good person for that job. It's all based on how dark you are. This is the dumbest shit ever. It is amazing. One of the biggest companies in history that has been around forever is literally hiring based off this quota.
they don't care about it, but the truth is, to some extent, they do. If you're mixed, but you don't look black at all, which sometimes happens,
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." But if you're mixed and you can tell they're somebody's part black, but they're not like that black, then okay, that was still, you know, Crazy.
But apparently, Meghan Markle is black enough. You can't make this up.
So would like Meghan Markle, who's pretty white,
Right. Yeah.
would she be considered
She would still
like
be, yeah.
diverse
She
or
would, yeah.
or
Huh? As a white guy,
We already know why that is, because she's part of the rich elite class. So they always get a pass. It's just your normal everyday Americans that don't get a pass because they hate normal everyday Americans. They look at you like they own you, like they're superior over you. And if you don't comply, then they will end you. That's how they look at like you.
even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney, saying, quote, "As far as Disney is concerned, I'm a white male."
Right now, I'm like a half step below a department head. I have a team under me, but I don't oversee a whole department. And I'd like to oversee a whole department, whether that's at Disney or having to lead. So,
Okay. Do you think that you'll have the opportunity at Disney?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male, and that's not who they're looking at promote at the moment.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
So
Oh, do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I don't know a lot, but it's something to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think the competition is?
Oh, I mean, I've been up for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and you know, haven't gotten.
Okay. And they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their?
One or two cases, you know, I was told very explicitly that it did. Yeah.
Explicitly how? What did they tell you?
I mean, I've been at the company for 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not what they want.
And so it's probably fair that Disney would say, we don't want a white person to play this role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very careful about they're very careful about messaging because they don't want to get to a discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male person. They say
Like straight to you, or okay,
they'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
in like email or whatever.
Right. But
After getting a dose of Disney's discrimination himself, it seems like Michael may have been hit with a reality check that discrimination against people based upon race is probably not cool.
I mean, it kind of feels like at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of.
And that is a lawyer talking. Now, could it get worse? It actually does. Not only does Disney discriminate against white men, it gives management bonuses to hire DEI candidates over white men, totally disregarding their level of qualification, as long as they're not white. You heard me correctly. A part of some executives' compensation package is based on hiring and retaining black hires. We saw this in the case of IBM. America First Legal has launched a lawsuit. Many people coming out of the woodwork from IBM, from these Fortune 500 companies, all saying they've experienced this. We are certain to hear from people inside Disney who've made these claims. Many people here in Los Angeles, here in Hollywood, very afraid of Disney, very afraid of retaliation against their creative productions or movies or films or jobs for speaking about this truth. But if you have been a victim of discrimination, please reach out to OMG or Citizen Journalism Foundation, and we will try to get you representation to get your rights. Get your very own.
They have goals that they're trying to. They want a certain percentage of diversity here, a certain percentage of diversity there.
But are these are open goals? Because you're saying they can't say it in such specific terms. So are they open goals?
They are open goals at a senior enough level.
So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices to the people that they work with? Well, according to Michael Giordano, it seems like it's a sensitive issue and they use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like, look, we're not looking at like the usual suspects for this job. So it's like not like a legally actionable thing. But everybody knows what it means.
According to Michael, even Disney's human resources agencies are on board with these practices. Hi, guys, do you know what the code words are for the discriminatory hiring practices? Do you work in HR? No? You familiar with the buzzwords? They don't know what I'm talking about now, but they will soon.
They, for writers and actors, I'll hear all the time, like, I'm looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are like, so there's definitely that focus.
Disney even has an internal organization such as 20th Action Group, whose sole purpose is to promote discriminatory DEI hiring practices and to push bizarre characters and storylines on children. The question is, can the people just come to work, make their cartoons, and do the discrimination elsewhere? But apparently not on CEO Bob Iger's watch. So how is prioritizing these DEI practices over hiring merit-based talent worked out for Disney shareholders, you might ask? Well, over the past 5 years, the S&P index is up over 88%, and Disney is down almost 30%, making that once golden brand one of Wall Street's biggest disappointments. Yes, the disaster that Disney has become is probably the most glaring example of what happens when you prioritize DEI over talent content creators and executives who truly know how to build value. So will Disney turn it all around and hire or promote based upon merit? We shall see. This is just part one. We got another tape coming out next week. This is a multiple part series. I spoke with Michael Giordano. You'll see that soon.
Are you guys on a date?
We are.
You have nothing to say?
I haven't seen you in.
Do you work for Disney?
I'm not gonna.
Is this you right here? And hopefully we get a comment from the CEO, Bob Iger, reporting from Burbank, California, outside the Walt Disney Company. This is James O'Keefe with OMG.
Dude, I absolutely love James O'Keefe. Expose all these corrupt cocksuckers, sorry for my language. And I know YouTube always, when I put out a video like this, they will shadow ban it so people can't see it. More eyes need to be on this because companies that have huge platforms, especially like Disney, should be called out for the bullshit that they're hiring under. Hiring based off of race? Are you kidding me? This is a joke. The last 4 years, this country has turned into a dumpster fire. The fact that anyone can still vote for these Democrats when we know it's the Democrats that push the DEI movement is a joke. It shows you these people should not be taken seriously at all. Hope you guys enjoyed the exposure. Please like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys. Have a great day. Peace.